right, how's it going, everybody? I've just noticed that the intro was just maybe a little bit laggy there, so I'll make sure we're running smoothly. This is exciting. This is something I've wanted to do for a long time. I want to welcome Matt as our special guest, and Drew joining us for the very first 312 show. Woo! I'm really bummed because my the lights for the Lego behind me, I was supposed to get battery replacements for them today. Amazon decided to not offer convenient shipping for me. It was delayed, so try to avert your eyes as much as possible. Yeah, so this is super exciting. We got a bunch of random stuff to talk about, and for you X-Wing folks, we got a bunch of X-Wing to talk about and a lot of speculation. But before we get to that, we have first, let's talk. Matt, why don't you talk about yourself, where you're from, and I hear that you know a couple of things about X-Wing. Maybe you've won a couple of things.
Yeah, my name's Matt Cary. I am from St. Louis, Missouri, in the Midwest of the United States of America. I am from the Midwest Scrubcast podcast, and I co-edit and author the Confessions of a Midwest Scrub. And I've won a couple different tournaments, the Gold Squadron Classic, and a couple hyperspaces, and got second in North American Nationals in 2019, and I was just on Team USA in the X-Wing Team Championships, and that was pretty cool. We got second there.
Real quick, sorry. Clicking sound in the background, a clock-like sound. Does anyone hear a clicking sound? I don't hear anything.
I don't hear anything either. I was gonna...
Just you. Okay. I guess some other people don't hear it. Drew, who are you, man? You're definitely not in Chicago. I'm the only one in Chicago right now.
Very true, very true. So my name is Drew Bishop Sy, formerly Drew Bishop. I got married 2 years ago. Well, I guess it just seems like a year ago now, but with the pandemic and everything, right? Like, yikes. Yeah, no, so I'm from the Bay Area, California. I grew up in Santa Fe, and then moved down to South San Francisco for a few years, and now I'm in East Bay, in the La Miranda area. Very fun. Yeah, I used to be good at X-Wing, as I like to say, and then of course 2.0 happened, and I got married and you know, moved in and got a new job, and basically gaming life disappeared for me somewhat, but I'm still here. Yeah, and I'm excited to do this with you, Nick. This is great.
Yeah, this is really excited about this. Oh, my camera froze. Oh, it wouldn't be anything if it weren't for something like this happening.
I'm worried it's the fan on me, but it is across the room, so
you're good. It's the first time my camera's froze since I've gotten this camera, so that's actually really ironic. Now the stream is looping a bit. We might have. I drop frames. Not too many drop frames right now, which should be good. I will keep an eye on everything. If we have a lot of things open right now, so it's possible that with the way the weather's been here tonight and all the things I have open, but again, I'll keep an eye out. Anyways, thank you both for being here again, and we have a lot of cool and exciting things to talk about, as I've said, so we'll kind of move on and show the topics of kind of what we have going for today. So let me open that up. So roll down the topics. There we go. So we just did our introduction. If you guys don't know who I am, I guess I didn't really introduce myself. My name's Nick Sperry. I work for Dion Morales, for those of you that play X-Wing, Gold Squadron podcast. I am the video editor for Dion, including doing Paint Wars, and I am also based here in Chicago, and this is our stream here. We do our own X-Wing and Star Wars stuff, and if this is the first time watching, maybe you're here for the Y-Wings we're giving away at the end. Anyways, welcome. If you're not following us, I think we're one away from 600. We're at 599. So if you want to torture me and are not following, you can decide not to and keep it. We've been at this number for a while. It goes at like the bots like unfollow, and then it goes to 597. Then 2 people follow. So we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. So the first main topic we have is random Chicago. So this is something we're gonna have for every single one of our streams. Is just going to be something super random about Chicago. So we're actually going to talk about the Chicago deep dish pizza in honor of Greg Cash. So just a little bit about what is deep dish pizza, okay? So some people argue that it's not a pizza. That's fine. You guys can argue about what it is all you want. But what is it? It is a specialty pizza that was created in the early 1900s here in Chicago. It's actually just like apparently a rivalry as to who first created the deep dish pizza. Pizzeria Uno takes credit for it in 1943, but apparently there's a restaurant called Rosati's that's been around since the 1920s that they claim that they had it on their menu as dating back to 1926. I know you guys really do care about those dates, so make sure to write those down. Apparently the average calorie intake for one slice is about 500 calories, so if you have 2 slices, that's about your intake for the day. You're getting pretty close. If you're trying to diet, you're right there. And then the special thing about deep dish is that it's like a pie. People call it a pizza pie. It's typically the crust is made of a few key ingredients, including sugar, kosher salt, all-purpose flour, cornmeal, dry yeast, and butter. So it's typically the crunchier and butterier it is. That's not a word though. We're gonna adapt. We're gonna create it as a word tonight. Butterier. The better it tastes. Curious if any of you guys have tried deep dish pizza before. What you guys think, and a couple of places to shout out that serve pretty decent deep dish. Pequod's Pizza here in Chicago, Lou Malnati's, Giordano's, Paisano's, and Rosati's, as well as Pizzeria Uno. So have either of you guys tried deep dish pizza before?
Yeah, I've been to Chicago a couple different times. Okay, so let me preface this that deep dish pizza is only deep dish pizza in Chicago. Any other place that I've had deep dish pizza, it is not Chicago deep style pizza. So I've had Giordano's probably about 4 or 5 different times. Very good. And then I can't speak to the other names of the places because visiting
so
friends.
Many, man. I haven't been to most
and they
of those
just
places.
order it and they have it brought into their place. And I don't know what the name is, but I'm 100% for it. I love it. So far, Giordano's is my favorite. And like you're saying, it's like 500 calories. I typically make it through 2 slices of pizza.
If you guys see the video that's playing of the deep dish being made, there's a lot of, that's just half the pizza so far. There's a ton of Italian sausage, a lot of cheese. They're really good.
So good.
And it's not a cake. It is absolutely not a cake. It is a pizza pie. And you could argue that if it's the worst pizza you've had or the best, I consider it to be a type of pizza. It's like a hybrid type of pizza. And I don't know why people get so upset about it. I'm not here waving a deep dish flag every day, claiming it to be the core of my heritage. But it is a part of the city. And if you're a tourist and you've never been, you're here for the first time, you should probably try one just to see if you can hop on the bandwagon or not. Let's head back to our topics and move on to the next one. Let me know, guys, in the chat if you guys have been to any of those places and if you've tried it before. So our next topic is we're going to do hot takes, spicy takes. I actually have a cool animation for this one that I didn't use. Yeah, I just have to open my stream deck here. Boom, hot takes. Hot take time. All right. Drew, what's something that what's a hill that you will die on?
X-Wing is dead.
X-Wing's dead, okay, and I know you're joking. What's something I dare you, something it can be Star Wars related, but not X-Wing related.
So there's the thing is a lot of people are talking about hot take on me, right? We talked about this last a couple days ago. A lot of I-4s, like high, right? Lots of ships are probably going to be coming back with some of the changes that we're seeing. But I still think like an I-5 or an I-6 is still an I-5 or an I-6, right? Like, I don't know, there were mini swarms in 2.0 and 1.0 before, right? You had like 3 or 4 ships and then your ace. And I still think that we're going to see that. And so that's my hot take, is I don't think things are really going to change, or they're going to change that you add a little bit more variety with your aces as opposed to, your Django Zam sort of garbage, right?
So I think every time we get a X-Wing reference outside of the X-Wing thing, I'm going to play the X-Wing the little X-Wing animation that I have. So all right, Drew, I'm gonna count that as half an answer. So now something that has absolutely nothing to do with X-Wing. You can't even mention initiative, pilot, upgrade, X, or wing in your response here.
Ships are cool.
Damn it! I should say ships.
I don't know.
Something, man. You exist outside of X-Wing. Something about the mail. Something about the mail. Drew is a postal service
I am a postal worker. Always tip your mailman or woman.
Always
Yeah.
tip. Is that I guess I've been doing it like horribly wrong my whole life. I tip my Uber driver, but I don't tip my mailman or my mailwoman.
I think the correct term is female man.
Female man. Yep.
Female man.
Yeah. Oh, well, man. That's what we say in our chat. We call each other well, man. So. Yeah.
Those are Drew's hot takes now. Matt, hit me with your hot takes. Give me two. We had Drew. Give me an X-wing one, I guess.
You'll do better than me, man.
I'm gonna give you something not related to X-wing at all.
Okay. I'll keep the first one Star Wars related. While perhaps the sequel trilogy wasn't fantastic, I think Force Awakens gets a worse rap than it should. I enjoy it. They hit the aesthetic of Star Wars right. Like when I saw the movie, I was like, this feels like a Star Wars movie, more like the original trilogy than the prequel trilogy even felt like Star Wars. I mean, obviously it's largely a copy paste plot, but it still felt right. It was fun to watch. I enjoyed it. I enjoy a lot of the characters from it. I still enjoy them. So,
it's just to interject really quick. Something that we deal with a lot these days is political bullshit and divisiveness, and I think it's interesting how the sequel trilogy, right? The sequel trilogy is almost like, I would call it political. Like it's like saying sequel trilogy is the same thing as saying like vaccinated or unvaccinated, which sucks that I even have to say this. But like It's because someone always says, and I do agree. So Mega Silver is like the Force Awakens is great. The last two are bad. That's how I feel about it. Then in the middle, The Last Jedi, like it's grown on me like 10%. I still don't like it, but because I realized that at least with that film, they kind of they doubled down on their execution. They just went one direction with it. They didn't undo everything. They just kind of, this is what we're doing.
Yeah,
I can admire that, even to a fault. But when something is so confused about itself, it's so amazing for a movie that costs that much money to make with the kind of minds around it to not have any idea what they're doing. And you just kind of see it right in front of you happening on the screen. Like, oh my God, they're so confused. Yep. They're so confused. It's a confusing movie. The last one especially is such a confusing movie. It's confused.
It's an incredible political take on the film industry as a whole, right? Because so much of the movies were changed based on people's reaction to them, and other like big movie bigwigs like freaking out over it and being like, no, we got to do this, no, we got to do that, no, we got to do this. And then of course there's the crew and stuff, right? Where it's like, it makes me think of what is it, the season 8 Game of Thrones, like best season ever, right? And it's just like, oh my God, yeah. So
Shazbot, Rise of Skywalker is the best sequel because they clearly don't care by that point. Oh, Brandon has. My favorite meme. One of my favorite memesters.
There are, each movie has its merits, but they the last two just don't come together as good movies, and you can clearly tell that they didn't write the script out ahead of time, which is a very J.J. Abrams thing. But so there was no cohesion between the three. They like, here's a mystery in the first one. Like, I still don't know how Maz got Anakin's lightsaber. I'm still lost on.
It's a good question for another time.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's for another time, Matt. Just another time. Another time. A couple. I guess I'll give you guys a couple. Here's super random, but we're talking about movies. The Secret Life of Walter Mitty is a good movie.
It's fantastic.
A very good movie, and it did not do well. People didn't really care for it too much. It's really good. It's beautiful too. It's a solid film that you're like, wow, no one cared about this film. Like, it makes you feel bad because it's like actually like deserves more love. I don't know if anyone, Matt's definitely seen it. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that film. It's with Ben Stiller. He just it's a lot of daydreaming and a lot of like scenic, like beautiful shots of like, is it Iceland he goes to? He goes to a few places.
Greenland.
He goes to Greenland.
Well, I think he also makes to Iceland as well.
He goes to all the lands.
Yeah. So all right. So here's my take on it. So people that wanted to see it, they were like, I'm going to see a Ben Stiller movie, which it is an atypical Ben Stiller movie. It's not Dodgeball. It's not the Fat Camp movie that I can't think of the name of at the moment. But Meatballs? No. yeah, whatever. Anyway, it's not his typical like meet the parents type, goofy schlock.
Romantic comedy. Sort of.
Yeah, yeah, it's very much it's one that pulls on your heartstrings. So if you were going for it for the goofy schlock, you didn't get any of it. And then the people that would have actually gone for the kind of movie that it is just assumed it was a Ben Stiller movie. And I think the same kind of thing happened with Stranger Than Fiction with Will Ferrell. That's another one where it's like, oh, this is actually a serious tone romantic movie with a little twist on it that, the Will Ferrell people are like, well, what did I get here? And the people that would have actually liked it are like, well, I don't really care for Will Ferrell movies.
That's true, yeah. You kind of people write things off because of like just the face behind it. In most cases, they produce the films and direct. I think Ben Stiller even directed Walter Mitty. Correct me if
He
I'm
did?
wrong. Yeah, which good for him.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller, when I think of Ben Stiller, I still think of Tropic Thunder, of him just like, the decapitated head, like just like it's like that's Ben Stiller.
Wow, so the prop looks great.
I know, he's like, you see the latex. I'm like, oh, Ben Stiller. Jen, my girlfriend, said season 8 Game of Thrones is trash. I don't even think that's a hot take. I think like 85% of people that love Game of Thrones, I think, actually probably agree with that.
I was very disappointed.
Strongly.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So you're not alone. You're definitely not alone. We've talked about that a few times. All right, and then here's my last one. Hamilton, although a really well produced and really just great musical, is really not that good, where it's like at the level of like The Messiah. So some people they listen to Hamilton soundtracks everywhere they go, all day on their road trips, and I'm like it's not like it's. To me, I'd watch Hamilton like once or twice and be like, cool, I've seen Hamilton, like I'm good.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't need to be listening to that music 400 times a month. So I don't know. I mean, look, I love things that are super niche and probably cringe. So everyone's entitled to love things. I'm not a dictator. I'm not a horrible person, but I just don't get it. I guess that's what I'm saying, is I don't really get it.
If I would go with a musical, and I know this is a musical movie, but I would go with Moulin Rouge. That's my hot one. But it's good. I mean, so there are parts that I will want to go back and watch Hamilton for, particularly the King George stuff, because it makes me laugh every time.
It's very funny.
Yep.
Again, it's a great musical. It's like top tier. But it's not the greatest thing ever made, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's just like, how do you even define that at this point? It's just good. It's really good. Chill out. Like, pump the brakes. Like, when something new comes out that's like attached to Lin-Manuel Miranda at that time, we had that Lin-Manuel Miranda era where like anything he touched, it was like the Midas touch. Like, it was the most incredible. Like, it's like the dude's really talented, but like, let's chill out a little bit. Like, I don't know. I just never truly got it. All right. So those were our hot takes. Let's move on. It's time to ask Matt some questions. So it's time for rapid fire questions. Boom. This was fun making these animations. And we will proceed with changing the topic, moving it down. Boom. All right. So here we go, Matt. You will have 45 seconds to answer up to 30 questions. Okay.
Oh, good.
So let's see how many Matt can get.
All right.
Let me first open up the notes here where the questions are and pull that off to the side so that I can look at it while I start the timer. Cool. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. 3, 2, 1. And I started the timer. All right. First car you have ever owned.
Jeep Cherokee.
Okay. You have a time machine. Do you use it to fistfight a dinosaur or Napoleon?
Napoleon.
Okay. Pineapple on pizza. Yes or no?
Yes.
Rebels or Scum?
Oh, Scum.
Crepes or waffles?
Waffles. Yeah, definitely.
Pasta or pizza?
Pizza.
Let's go to the main screen so you guys can see the timer. There it is. Okay. Which was delayed.
You're wasting my time.
Let's give it. Let me give it like 8 seconds here so we can catch up with the timer, because the timer started on my end and it didn't start on the stream. Okay, beer or wine?
Beer, I guess.
Best pilot in X-Wing?
Cary.
There you go. Favorite non-sci-fi movie?
Oh, man, that is hard. Braveheart.
Oh, okay. Favorite Muppet?
Kermit.
Are there ghosts in your dice?
No.
Favorite board game?
That
is it. That's time.
No.
So you can answer it. We're on number. We made it to number 12.
Oh man, favorite board game. I mean, it's going to be X-Wing, but I was trying to say something that's not X-Wing, obviously.
Episode 2 should be all hot takes. That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
You don't really? Just not into board games.
I actually love board games. I played so many. Let's go with Azul.
Okay, I have not played that.
Oh, here it's good though.
So that was a rapid fire question. So if you guys want to know what the other questions were, first of all, let me just plug the Discord. This is related. I'm not just plugging the Discord to plug the Discord this time. In our Discord, there is a section for the 312 show, which there is a section called From the Audience. So please give us your rapid fire question ideas. A number of those were pulled from our Discord already that I just asked Matt. I do advise you, for every X-Wing question you ask, please come up with something non-X-Wing related, because I want this to be the 312 show, not the 312 X-Wing cast. Because we love X-Wing, but it's refreshing to be able to work the brain in other areas that aren't necessarily X-Wing related at times. You're like, oh yeah, I'm a human being. You remind yourself.
Yeah,
you know,
it's me trying to.
Especially Matt. Matt wins a lot, so he's like, oh, like X-Wing. I could do something else besides X-Wing.
Yeah, me trying to think of a different board game besides X-Wing and just blanking.
It's like, Armada. It's like the closest thing to X-Wing. That's not X-Wing. Yeah. All right, back to our topic. So the next one up, we're doing Star Wars lore. So this one I'm really, really excited about. Someone that I hope maybe makes an appearance, potentially in Cassian. This is something that Jack Ballard, a buddy of mine who plays in the city with us, mentioned if he could see Jan Ors and Kyle Katarn make a cameo, kind of officially engrave themselves in the new canon era. Kyle Katarn, he's always had a soft spot for me, and he's actually being played a bit in X-Wing as well. I guess we'll see his X-Wing card there. This is looping, so we'll be able to go over his X-Wing card, but this is what I have for Kyle. This is from Wikipedia. So the canon description of Kyle Katarn as of now is a Force-sensitive human male who worked as a mercenary and an operative for the Rebel Alliance. So that's all kind of what we've known him as before Disney. In Legend's definition of Kyle Katarn, he was a former Imperial officer who defected to the rebellion. I really like that part. That's actually something that they've kind of taken that idea a few times now. Finn defected, Han defected, Wedge defected. There's plenty of people, and then I think Sabine also defected. There's plenty of cases where we've had Imperial defectors go to the rebellion, but Kyle is one of the OGs, which is awesome. I don't know about Jan Ors though. I'll have to look up more about Jan, if she also worked with the Empire or not. I thought she did, but I can't confirm that, so I'll have to fill me in, guys, if I am wrong about that. So he was a former Imperial officer, defected to the rebellion, like I said, often paired with fellow rebel agent and smuggler Jan Ors. Performed many covert missions for the Rebel Alliance and later to the New Republic. He's the son of Morgan and Patricia Katarn, farmers from the Solist colony moon of Solon. A lot of this is Legends now, so Solist exists, but Solon I do not think is a thing anymore. He actually is one of the few humans in the galaxy to be fluent in the electronic language of droid speak, which is something that they've kind of hinted at in the games, or at least in Dark Forces. And I'm going to probably go on a Dark Forces rant in a little bit, because I love that game. Katarn was later informed of his Force sensitivity and taught himself to become a Jedi while in search of the Valley of the Jedi. During this journey, he confronted the dark side within both himself and in the form of Dark Jedi. I guess he would be a Sith. There's no such thing as a Dark... Is there a Dark Jedi?
Yeah, that's
Jedi?
What Vader was originally called.
Makes sense. And his minions, that's going back to Dark Forces. And then once he defeated Jarek, he became a Jedi Master and taught Jedi at the Jedi Praxium. Yeah, so what do you guys remember Kyle Katarn from? Some people would say like Jedi Academy. What do you think?
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. So, like, for me, it's always been like I know of Kyle Katarn. Like, I know that he was it Jedi. Was it Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Academy, something like that,
Yeah.
or was he
Yep.
in both Jedi Knights?
He's in Jedi Outcast and
Okay.
Jedi Academy.
Okay, like they were games that I wasn't playing PC at the time, so I knew of them, and my friends would talk about them. But yeah, I knew he had a lightsaber, and I also knew that he fired guns. That was basically my education on Kyle Katarn until X-wing came around, and then I learned that he tossed focuses.
Yeah, so Kyle is an Initiative 3 pilot. At the start of the engagement phase, you may transfer one of your focus tokens to a friendly ship in your firing arc, which actually goes back to the same pilot ability in 1.0 of X-Wing. Very thematic, a good design, I think, in terms of who he was. Dark Forces 2 is where I fondly remember Kyle Katarn, because they actually had live action cutscenes in that game, and the guy that played him did a really good job. It was just a really, like, you kind of fall in love with the character because they do so much to try to bring that galaxy, that part of the world, to life. And that's a game that goes back to like the 90s, with really, really crappy graphics. the Quake engine. Yeah, you guys let me know. Would you want to see Kyle Katarn make a comeback in the canon? I honestly think that he should be at the top of the list. I don't know about you guys, but I don't see why he shouldn't be brought back.
Yeah. Didn't they pull stuff from those games anyways? Like the Dark Troopers, right? From Mando or whatever? Wasn't that part of one of the games?
Yeah,
They,
he
like,
sabotaged the Dark Trooper factory is one of the things that he was like known for. Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it seems weird to me to bring back pieces of that, but not him, right? So.
Yeah, something that I'd love to see Disney Plus do is take some of these beloved Legends characters and re-implement them, retell their story on whether it's animated or live action, retell their story in a series, even if it kind of like they're doing with Andor and The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. The one that I'd want to see the most, for me, is Shadows of the Empire, because that's Dash Rendar and then Prince Sizor, and it just covers the time in between Empire and Jedi, and I'd really like to see that. But yeah, definitely like to see Dark Forces and other things like that come to life.
There's they've shown what's nice is they've shown a willingness to do that, to do exactly what we're talking about, and bringing characters that we thought were long gone back, that they at least notice the quality of previous characters that were in Legends, that they pushed into Legends, which gives me hope. I will say that before The Mandalorian, I kind of was about to write off Star Wars, and I was gonna just keep playing the game and be a casual fan, like at heart, be a diehard, but there's just not as much for me to get excited about, because a lot of it, like the sequel trilogy, like we said, was just confused and weird and annoying.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not very good, but no, they've done a really good job turning it around, and I think Cass can be a great opportunity to bring back Jan and Kyle, so we'll see. So that Star Wars lore. I forgot to play that before we did the topic, but I put it at the end. So now, guys, you know what time it is? Do you know what time it is? Take a guess. What time is it?
Time to show the chat the cats?
No, so Jen is demanding the cats right now, and they're sleeping, so I'm not gonna wake them. One of them's actually below my feet right now. She's tired. So, hey, thank you so much for that sub. Appreciate it, Brandon. Means a lot. Thank you all for watching tonight. This is gonna be a bi-weekly thing, so every 2 weeks we'll be doing one of these casts. And it is X-Wing time. All right, let's do it. So Star Wars X-Wing. And Drew, you got that document pulled up? Let me relink it here.
I do.
Unfortunately, yeah. Sorry, guys. 1 sec. You want to see my Spotify?
I was gonna say check out some
Harris Heller beats.
Take a screen capture and
yeah.
get Nick's playlist.
Google Chrome has been a little frustrating when it comes to getting the window capture to stay up. So,
oh no,
Drew has it ready, but I don't.
I do. I've got here the X-Wing overview.
Yes. Choke. Here we go. There we go. Got it. I got it, guys. It's fine. Everything's great. How are you? All right. X-Wing overview. So this is speculation time, guys. We could go off on tangents about like this is unPE, this is really good in the meta. Like there's so many podcasts, including the Midwest Scrubcast, which I recommend you guys listen to, where you can hear about what all things X-Wing. We're gonna stay focused as best as we can. Get it focused because that's an action you could take in the game.
Hey,
and be reinforced behind this. There's so many pun opportunities. So
Wow.
First, we're gonna actually take input from you guys as well. Starting us off here, which pilots do you speculate going up or down in cost? I guess Matt, we'll start with you. Just pick a few. I'd say 2 or 3 each, up, down. What's your speculation? Drew's gonna fill in the blanks for us as we go.
Easiest one is Zam. Zam pilot should probably be somewhere around the cost of Boba Fett cost, 86-ish points. Hera.
You're talking about Zam Crew being 86, of course.
Yeah, Zam Crew 86 points as well. Seems fair.
So Hera. So there's been a debate about Hera being like 4 points more expensive or like 8 points more expensive. Ahsoka exists though, so she can't go up that much. Right?
Yeah, I'm more in the 3 to 4 point range. 3 was what I suggested, but 4 I could see as well. For a down, I'm gonna say Hera in a B-wing. Then I think it's 55 points ish. Probably the most expensive B-wing that doesn't have all the actions that Hera A-Wing has available to her, so it's harder to toss all the tokens. Also, that Hera will get focused down a whole lot easier than the squirrely A-Wing that can dodge around stuff. So
one agility ships are just one agility ships at the end of the day. You can roll an evade result every time and be taking through 2 or 3 damage. So yeah. Mystic, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub, by the way, just to add that. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, so also really quick, Drew, if you want to jump down the chat, we have a few things here, or the chat section. So we have Volt Scarus going down. That's what Tommy thinks, that Volt Scarus will go down. I don't think I've seen a single game where Volt Scarus has been played. That I just finished watching Rebels, and Volt is like the lead of the academy there for the TIE Defender Factory. So that would be cool because I think they want to get characters like that more played anyways. But hey, if it's a bad design, it's a bad design. You could argue.
Yeah.
Django going up, I agree with that. Maybe by only a couple of points. I don't think Django in the Fire Spray is really truly that good, and his ability is not very good either. Kylo and Silencer going up, according to Yoda Taco. I don't know if that's necessary. Isn't he 76 base?
Yeah, I think
he's a pricey boy.
Should probably wait 6 months, see how the new rule stuff plays out before changing him up. Yeah, it would be my guess.
You guys keep hitting us with what you guys think, speculate. I3 pilots, I4 pilots, we'll probably see a slew of them being changed and dropping down. Drew, what do you think? You don't have to type as you go. When I go, you can type.
Absolutely.
So
no, you're good. I think maybe with these changes coming, a lot of high initiative pilots will drop. So I'm gonna go out on a limb, hot take. Cary dropping.
Cary, yeah, that has to happen, man. That has to happen. I think it has to happen.
Yeah, definitely think Poe going down as well. The trigger happy, the flyboy, Poe flyboy drop.
Heroes of Hope will go down. Poe, Heroes of Hope. Poe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what needs to go up? I mean, pilot wise, does Bosk need an increase? I don't.
I would be like max 2 points if they did that, like maximum.
Yeah, if you hit a lot of his upgrades, he gets hurt by it already, so he may not need to.
Yeah, was it 3 shields and 9 hull, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a ship with that much health has no business. not taking damage the entire game. That I've seen it way too much, where he just hasn't
Right.
gotten shot at. That's not cool.
What are other pilots? What's the guy that can that's always taken now with Gamut Key?
Gleb?
Gleb, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
A 2-point coordinate is absurd.
Oh yeah.
No, but that's crew. That's crew. I'm talking about
Yes.
it's Constable Zuvio.
Oh,
Okay.
the quad jumper.
Yeah, the quad jumper. Yeah, because you take a Constable Zuvio with a Proxmine and Gamut, right? As the crew to just ferry around things. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe this is my like horrible hot take. Like, what is Drew talking about? Right? Like.
No, I think you're.
Down.
No, I think Yoda Taco saying I'm not sure a lot of the high initiative pilots will drop as much as we think. I think just a couple like Poe, like here's a Poe.
Yeah, just a few.
T. Was there anything else you wanted to add, Drew, to that, or are you good with that for now?
No, I think that's it. I don't really have anything else. I mean, Matt, you hit it on the head, man. My first choice was gonna be Zam, and I don't want to be like piggyback on you. Like,
Oh yeah. I mean, I think everybody should piggyback on that idea.
absolutely true, though. So.
Okay. You guys pretty much hit the nail on the head with most of what I would say. I think false transponder codes. We're just doing pilots. So
It's like
We're just doing pilots.
We're doing pilots.
Says weird pilot.
Yeah, it is a weird pilot. Yeah, it's a new pilot coming out. So I think I'm trying to think of a couple of other like fringe pilots that we haven't. I'm curious to see what they do with the Star Fortress, if they decide to look at that at all. I think that's something they've kind of glossed over constantly and just kept the same for a while. They haven't really done too much. So maybe they adjust points on a couple of the less played Star Fortresses. There is an I-5 Star Fortress pilot out there. You don't see her as much as Venny, because Venny is Venny. Other pilots. Let's see. I could see. I'm not sure if they would touch a Soontir Vader, X1 Vader. If they do, I could probably see it by a point or two going up. I don't think, again, I don't, just because I speculate saying this doesn't mean I want it to happen. Someone that loves to play both of them. Cary, as you said, I think is probably a guarantee to go down. And I think we will probably see the VCX and the YT 2400 drop in points too across most of the pilots. I don't know if Hera necessarily needs to drop anything, but trying to think of the more oddball kind of takes here, stuff that's a little less on the nose that I could see them making bigger adjustments to.
What about what do you think of Garvin Drace, right? The token passing, maybe even Kyle Katarn.
Benfic, Kyle, Garvin by like 1 or 2 points, if that.
Yeah.
I think it, combined with Hera going up like 3 or 4 points, if they all went up maybe 1, it may just be Garvin, because Garvin is just super synergizing with her, and that'll cost you to make some decisions.
Yeah.
To deal.
Mentioning the E-Wings, love my E-Wings. Gavin Darklighter, I could see Gavin going down. I could see all the E-Wings going down another point or two. We're getting into dangerous waters if they keep going down.
Yeah.
They're really good. They're really, really good. I think that's all I have. We could probably move on to upgrades, which probably have more spicier things to say. Because let's be honest, I don't think there are too many pilots out there that are being a problem on their own. I think a lot of the X-Wing meta right now is deeply affected by undercosted upgrades, especially the new stuff. So Matt, again, if you want to lead us off with a few that you think should go up or down.
Well, I'll cheat again by saying Zam Wessel.
Yeah.
It's just too cheap. We mentioned earlier that Bosk, he's enabled by it, but anybody that takes that crew is enabled by it. If you put Bosk up 6 points, Zam would still either be there or would be taken on a different ship and would be just as nasty. So,
yep.
Well, maybe not just as nasty, but yeah, that one definitely going up.
Give me a number.
I think it should be 10 points.
10 points. I like it.
10 points, if not more, because a force point is somewhere typically costed around 11 points. So a free target lock is about a force point. So, but 10 at minimum between always getting a target lock and sometimes getting a double tap, it's worth 10. And would still be worth taking. If you go higher, it would probably still be worth taking.
Want to call back to something Yoda Taco said earlier. You asked the question, do you think they will try to standardize points bans or possibly change the way? By bans, do you mean like a band? Or do you mean bans, like banning something? Or possibly change the way points work completely? Do you guys, I think I'm struggling to understand what that means. You guys probably understand that better than I do. Or if you can clarify, a range, okay, sure. I'm not I mean, they kind of hinted that AMG was willing to be very liberal when it comes to just completely overturning and changing the way things have been for years. So, I think they should pump the brakes a little bit when it comes to completely altering the game. I think the stuff they've announced is plenty for a long time. That's my take on it. I think when they said something in the middle of their stream about major points changes to reflect faction identity, it sounds cool and it rolls off the tongue, but it doesn't really make sense to me. Like, points and faction identity, like maybe they mean like pricing, like if they wanted separatists to go back to swarms, they would price everything that's not swarmy out of the game, I guess, is what a faction identity points change would be like. But I don't necessarily think they should be outcasting certain types of players that do like to play that stuff. Ace players exist, swarm players exist, and then there are mini swarm players and everything in between and on the outsides. So I'm just worried that some people are going to get booted from the game just because of more drastic measures that they're going to take. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I like as big of a community as possible when it comes to this game.
Yeah, I honestly have no clue what to expect after the two announcements to bidding. I everything is open game to me. They could do a great job. They could do a terrible job. I have no expectations right now. I'm excited, but not completely in a good way, but not in a bad way either.
That reminds me, let me open up our next poll for everyone here that is watching right now. So how do you feel about the recent changes AMG has made? There are 3 options: excited, uncertain, or unhappy. I doubt that this would be an issue, but I just do want to remind the folks that are watching, like, to be, not super rude to people that are like aces, or people that don't really play aces. Like, respect all people's opinions. Type 1, 2, or 3. You'll see the poll there at the bottom left. I'm a number 2. I'm firmly at number 2 right now, in that I'm uncertain. I'm not like super excited like some people are really hyped. Like, I'm just like, I was in the middle of playing a game when I heard about this stuff, so I was a little blown away. It was like, I'm like, the game as I'm touching it right now has been changed. It was weird. So Drew, if you want to write down, you wrote down Zam, and then what else?
Yeah, Matt, do you have any other upgrades other than Zam Crew?
I'll throw out thermal detonators.
I
think they should at least be 5 points. Because you essentially have skill bombardier baked in automatically, which is 2 points, and just the sheer amount that you get from them, the amount of coverage, it's worth 5. And no other bomb that costs more than thermal detonators will be taken if thermal detonators is cheap. That's just the way it is. It's how it's going to be.
You don't see anything else even now as far as competitive. I think maybe you see prox mines, but it was only for things like Soontir or like the disciplined ships that you can one shot, right, or get that last 2 damage in to kill them. But yeah, thermals all the way, man. As far as the points now, right? Like,
yeah,
you don't see
the value of not only dropping more than 1 but then recovering more than 1. It's just
that too.
Let's recognize value when value exists. Matt, you're playing in GSP Hoth, right? Do you know when that is? That's like a week, right?
I think it's the first weekend in October.
Oh yeah,
I believe.
It's not next weekend. The weekend after.
The week after, yeah.
Yeah, sounds right.
Coming up. It's in 2 weeks. That's the answer to your question. It's in 2 weeks. Anything else, Matt, before we go to Drew?
I won't step on anybody else's toes. I'm sure you guys can hit them up, and if you
my
don't,
toes,
I'll step on your toes at the end.
My toes. All right, Drew, hit me.
Sure. Can we swear on this?
Yes, there's
Yes.
yeah, this is not
Fucking
meant for
Disciplined. My God.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that actually has like a hate for that card, because people are
Yeah,
like, I don't get the big deal about it. I'm like you take 1 or 2, you get no value out of it. Like, you have not played what I have played against and what I've seen.
Right. So the big issue with it is those linked actions. Right. The fact that a lot of ships can take it, and then, like, for example, and of course we've all seen this before, the TIE Interceptor being able to boost or barrel roll after taking that target lock action. It's just like, oh my gosh. So I definitely think discipline needs to go up. Another one that I see quite often, although Nick on our stream, or sorry, the 312 stream.
You could say our stream. I think I've poached you successfully now.
Hilarious. With FTC, false transponder codes, I definitely think needs to go up as well.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even though the funny deterrence is E-wings, and then there's one more that a really good
Ended maybe.
Jendon, that was the other one. It was Jendon. But people aren't going to build a list to counter false transponder codes.
Yeah.
It's too cheap to even worry about it, but it's still just very frustrating. Here's my little thing to kind of pile on top of that about false transponder codes. It is kind of going back to the whole tractor thing before they added the little rotate 90 degrees for a stress thing and mechanic into the with tractor. Right. And I've talked about this on your cast, Matt, removing agency from players is really bad. Like, it might feel like fun for you, but like that's like, it's fun for one, but to be honest, it's shitty. It's just shitty thing to do. Like, that player fully executed a maneuver, had their perform action step, and they chose to take whatever. They are entitled to be able to have those things. Like, it's just because you take something that's dirt cheap that like takes things away from players, like, it doesn't mean it shouldn't belong. And I just think that false transponder codes is like a bad part of the game, even though it's a one-time use. Like, oh, but Nick, it's a one-time use. It's like Contraband Cybernetics is a great value card too, but it just allows you to do something. It doesn't allow you to do something and to at the same time take something away from the other player. So it should go up. I would love to see it at like 4 or 5 points. Do I think it'll actually go that high? Probably not. Same thing goes for thread tracers. Keep going, Drew. Sorry.
Yeah, no, sure. And then speaking of, actually, I was gonna do a hot take. Ensnare, I think, should drop a little bit. Like,
it should drop.
You never see them anymore, right? The whole reason you saw them was because you could spam them, and then they got costed up to infinity, and
they felt bad about making that card. This is what happened. They felt bad.
Like, you watch that, for those who play X-Wing, and you see it on the table, you're like, this should never exist, right? Like, so yeah, I think I would like to see Ensnare come down a little bit. Like, there's the other thing too. Have they said anything about making cards unique? Or like specific upgrades other than like titles for ships?
I would really like that, where like you could post releasing them put the little pip marks on them. So, it's like, oh, you can only take 2 of this upgrade, even though it doesn't have any little dots next to it. I would like that.
Yeah, and I think that cards like a thing like that with Ensnare, maybe dropping in cost a little bit, that would be really, really cool. And you'd see that, like, because you'd see Sunfac with Ensnare, you might see Sunfac without Ensnare, right? Like, yeah, I think that's really cool idea.
Sunfac's too expensive to take without Ensnare, I think, to be honest.
I mean, I have my opinions that, maybe the ship just shouldn't exist, but okay.
That's fine. I mean, I agree. Same thing with Vader Defender.
It was the fully execute, and I think that's the thing that should be eroded on that ship, and I'll preach that forever.
Yeah.
But
Taco, nope. Ensnare Sunfac is the worst.
Yeah. The fact that
he had his way with people for a while, so I get it. Anything else?
Anything else dropping?
Or going up that you think upgrade?
I kind of actually agree with, who was it? It wasn't One Arm Billy. Was it Yoda Tech? Someone was asking about torpedoes dropping. Do you think plasmas are at a good spot right now? And do you think proton torpedoes are at a good spot? Like I kind of feel like protons are maybe a little too expensive.
I'd be like a point, I
I
think.
could,
Yeah, like
I
like
could
a
see him
point.
dropping to 12 points instead of 13.
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt my feelings, but I would say that now there's an argument that people will be going all the way up to 200 points, that you may not have as big of a problem paying for that 13 point, or I think plasma's like
Let me
6?
let me
I don't
pull
know.
up my Boba Fen list to 200. How laughably stupid it is. So I also have a listed here, Matt, that says it's called For Dan, and it has a 21
Okay.
point bid, and that'll forever be immortalized as a list I'll never be able to use. So I have Fenrau with advanced proton torpedoes, and then I had to add cluster missiles and advanced proton torpedoes on Boba to get to 200 points.
Wow.
It's like a 128 point Boba Fett. It's fine. Yeah, so I think to kind of bounce off of that, I think I could see Prockets and advanced proton torpedoes, because I think they're kind of interchangeable. They're pretty similar, like 1 point up, maybe. We will talk about the Barons and stuff, which is probably another thing that'll go up. But in quantity, that those upgrades are absurd. More particularly Prockets. But if you boost Prockets, I think you have to raise advanced protons to be the same cost. Or do you think, Matt, it should be 5-6? Like,
I think 5-6 is good, because like 6 points for the Prockets, the ease at which you can get the Prockets is you just take a focus. You get to choose whoever lands in that arc is fine. Whereas the advanced proton torpedoes, you have to be able to get a lock on somebody. So it's a little harder. You have to play it right. You have to get that person in range 1. It's just a little simpler to get the Prockets off. And I say this as a guy that flew Procket A-Wings and continues to fly Procket A-Wings, Resistance or...
Right. At least it's not a swarm, though. You don't fly them as a swarm.
No. I typically have 2 if I fly. I fly 2 A-Wings that have Prockets, and it's fun. It's spike damage, and then I'm back to 2 dice, but...
Man, I just can't. I can't roll dice when it comes to.
But they were worth their cost at 6 points. I was confused when I saw them go down 1 point, because I was like, "This is a fantastic upgrade." Because like 7 points was just too much. 6 it feels like the sweet spot for me.
Yeah, I don't even remember them being as high as that. It's been so long to me. I think it's a blur.
Same here.
A couple things that we probably should just honorable mentions, and then we'll move on to the banning speculation. Keep moving forward here. The HMPs probably an honorable mention in terms of they should probably take a look at side slips or at the chat. The ship, the generics or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe a point or 2 up.
They're
hyper efficient. Way too efficient for how cheap they are. Like
Agent 47 DGS 047 should go up just a hair. He's got a really good ability that's 1 point more than the generic. It's worth more than 1 point.
A small base, 180 degree arc. That's the only other ship I can think of is the Azatuk. Is there another small base ship with 180 degree arc? It's like native front arc or primary. Yeah. And the fact that it's a gunship that's basically the size as the Republic gunship but gets a smaller base is insane. It's crazy. Yeah, I think they should take a look at that. Let's move on. I didn't want to say that. I guess in the poll, no one that's voted so far is unhappy, which is actually really surprising to me. A couple people.
I will say that I started like that first night. I was unhappy, and I've come around to uncertain.
Yeah,
it is that first one. I was like, these people have no clue what they're doing. They're jumping in. They're making these huge changes as soon as they get their hands on the reins, and then like a day later, I was like, okay. Deficit scoring is probably good. It's the random scoring a random first player that I'm curious about. And then a whole week later, I'm like, okay, I just want to see how this goes, and then I'll make a judgment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. They mentioned potential bans, so let's do that. Let's do a quick speculation on bans. Let's do this. We'll start with Drew. Let's name 2 things each, so total of 6. If Drew stole yours, Matt, then you're gonna have to come up with something else. So Drew, start us off. What do you think could be banned? And do you think it would be permanent, or do you think maybe it would be like a season thing, like they did with hyperspace, where they take stuff in, or they put stuff in, take stuff out? What do you think?
I'm just gonna pick. Well, this is actually funny because we were talking about it earlier. I'm gonna say band and snare, because I definitely think that as of with the right fully execute maneuvers on the ships that it's on, I think it's way too good. And then of course the one that everyone is always talking about, and I'm just gonna put it out here because it's the one on everyone's mind: supernatural reflexes, right? Like, I mean, they even this card was so.
Google hates me.
This card was so good that they actually reprinted and made a separate card that does what it does, but worse. Right? So that's why I'm like, okay, I definitely feel like Super Natty is probably not going to exist. But, you know, there might be things that they, you know, pull it into in the future. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But that's me, my two. Going, what gets banned? Probably Ensnare and probably Supernatural Reflexes.
Ensnare should go down, but it should also get banned.
I mean, the problem, well, that's a good thing to talk about too, real quickly. I don't think the problem is Ensnare the card. I think the problem is that the ship it goes on. That's what needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
Right? So
The pinpoint tractor array just needs to be fully execute, and it becomes you can actually counter it.
We got it back.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know what the deal is with Google Chrome and OBS, but we got it back. So, go ahead, guys. Sorry.
sure.
Yeah. You want me to go with my recommendations?
Do it.
Yeah, man.
I
Take
mean,
it off. Take it off.
I was definitely thinking supernatural reflexes, but I also kind of figured that would be said. I'm gonna go with two oddball ones, and the reasoning is if you get rid of these, you can more space opens up for what you can do. One of them is
I thought you were gonna say that oddballs in too many ships.
So yeah, let's just ban oddball. Too powerful, can't go to a game night without one oddball showing up. It's
honestly
frustrating.
think Oddball's design is really good because if you watch Revenge of the Sith, Oddball dies immediately. He says, "Stay with me, Oddball," and he dies immediately. He's just, and therefore he's never used because he died so fast. It's like that useless. Might as well be dead.
So one that I want to suggest is inertial dampeners. That was only used on Han, Handbrake Han, and was errated to not be able to be used. But I think if you get rid of that upgrade, you could create a better inertial dampeners to replace it, so to speak. The problem was they had unforeseen consequences with this card, and I think there's another one that's like that. Let's see, what was it called?
Good in the trash.
Okay.
Yeah, that was me.
I was thinking something like static discharge vanes, or static discharge vanes. Before you would gain one iron or jam token, if you're not stressed, you may choose another ship at range 0 to 1, gain a stress token. You could pass off the iron or jam to them. There's so much that future proofing, whenever they're designing something, they have to think of, okay, static discharge vanes exists. So I have to look, if something adds an ion or a jam token, I have to look at this card first. And it's just a holdover card, and if you just ban it, you just never have to think about it again. If it's a permanent ban, just be like, this is something that nobody takes, and now that it's gone, and nobody will miss it, now we can open up developing space.
Right. And both of the cards that you've listed here, especially static discharge vanes, there was horrible play with, was 4 jump masters?
Yeah,
right?
back in first edition.
No, not in first edition, but in second edition too. Yeah, in the very beginning, or maybe it was 4 of the Scum Falcons.
Okay.
And it was just like they're staticking everything off the table, and it was like, oh, cool, this is not.
Yeah.
This is fun, right? 4 large base ships on the board, and you're just bumping everything, and you're not even playing the game at that point, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, not fun, and I think it just opens up design space. So it's a different avenue to look at it, where it's like, this isn't a super OP thing that we need to point out of this world This is something that just restricts design space because we have to think about it every time we make a new card. And nobody uses it anyway, so if we ban it, nobody's going to get hurt.
I've heard... okay, so... I think Supernatural Reflexes is one of those cards that we've heard a lot about as being a potential for a ban. And I actually would be totally cool with that being banned permanently, to be honest. As someone that actually hasn't had a ton of negative experiences using it, or having it played against me, I just think that being able to kind of negate what your opponent does in terms of flying and trying to block you, or where they go, and being able to go any which way, even though it's expensive, I think they, just like Luke Gunner, they've recognized, I think we made a mistake. And even just like the Super Kylo fans out there are like, sorry, like try something else. I think there are certain players out there who get so caught up in playing one thing like Super Kylo, where like if that upgrade gets touched, they like can't play anything else because they just don't know how. So I would say that in this coming points change, or the potential bans, is going to challenge a lot of people to, you know, either challenge them to see how good they really are with anything else, or to try something different. Either way, they're going to have to make changes. So Supernatural for me, Luke Gunner, when I was comparing it to Luke Gunner, I wouldn't necessarily argue that Luke Gunner is as useless. I think now with the points cost, you might as well ban it, just to say we're done with it. And I know that I said two, but I'm gonna do one more. I think people are gonna be like, why are you beating up on her? I think you should just admit that like it was dumb and just ban Sam Wessel Crew.
I can't argue against it.
It's like free target locks, free bonus attacks, potentially unlimited for as long as you can play the game. Like, I mean, Quick Draw doesn't get to do that. You know, Dengar doesn't, like, they don't get to do stuff like that, and they're not cheap. So even if Zam's 10 points, even if Zam's 12 points, like, what's a free target lock and a free and multiple bonus attacks worth? Like, I mean, if you really add it up for a high initiative, or for a middle initiative to high initiative ship, like, that's like, you know, dozens and dozens and dozens of points, 30 plus points of value over the course of an entire game. Just ban it. Just like, bye, alley-oop.
But there's the other thing too, right? Like, so we saw what the child does, right? On the AMG stream, right? The crew card,
which is bad, right? Is it just me, like, getting free locks is like, that's a huge drawback.
so with Zam, right? Like, why do you get the free locks? Wouldn't it have been more scummy if it was like if you take a damage from after defending, then you get the lock, right? It's just free for some reason. It's not. I don't.
Free. And I guess one more. I'm sorry. If people are gonna be like, this is so unnecessary, get rid of Threat Tracers. I hate it so much. I get it. It's just like, here's the thing. I know that you're not shooting when you fire a threat, like, you're not going to deal damage. But the fact that you can use any token to shoot it, it's range controlled. If they just errated the fact that you could roll an extra die at range 3, like, that would be fine with me. I wouldn't care about Threat Tracers as much. Free stuff wing. I'm not a fan of free stuff wing. Everyone gets free stuff all the time. Not a fan of it.
And it's weird that, so a lot of things in first edition were overpowered. This is one of probably the only card that came over from first edition that is more powerful than its first edition version, and it's cheaper.
Yeah. I mean, Greg's right. Like, it could just go up in points, and I'm probably not going to complain about it.
Yeah.
But, like, because, I mean, if you want to try to avoid certain things, if you want to avoid ships or a bunch of ships getting free stuff for nothing, then you would, if that's truly the most important thing to you, then you would probably ban the card. But I don't think they're even concerned about it. But that's my hotter take on the potential ban side of things. Are you guys satisfied with that?
Are you not entertained?
Are you satisfied? Are you not entertained?
Sorry, Matt. Sorry.
That was Star Wars X-Wing talk. All right, guys. So let me turn that animation off because it loops. Nice, got it this time. Okay, moving on. So we got a request for the Bad Batch. Talk about the Bad Batch. So we are going to do that. So we're going to move on to the Bad Batch, which there it is. Cool. Star Wars: The Bad Batch. So I'll start us off really quick. I was super pleasantly surprised by this show. When they announced it, I kind of just scoffed and it was like, whatever. Like, I'll check it out. That was the extent of it for me. That was my interest in the show. I'm gonna switch the poll really quick over. We'll kind of dive into more detail, but really quick, just to glaze over on the surface, what did you guys think? Did you enjoy it? Are you excited for the next season?
Okay, so I'm going to start off with the preface that I have not completed Bad Batch.
Okay.
But
we'll avoid some spoilers.
That's fine. But one thing that I do appreciate about it, like you said, I was not initially excited because, like, when they introduced the Bad Batch in the final season of Clone Wars, they're like, here's these guys that are super powerful and each one is as good as a Jedi in their own unique way. They're invincible. Nothing could happen to them. So there's, like, the stakes are super low. Granted, it's a kid show. Maybe I'm delving too deep into it, but I think the actual show is a little more deeper. And then I'm glad that they're exploring the era of the transition between clones and not clones as the Imperial Army. So you wondered how that happened. It was like, did they just wholesale get rid of the clones? Did they, how did this happen? So it's a interesting bit of lore that I'm glad they're exploring.
Yeah, and they overwrite some old stuff too that people were, like the Camino uprising. That was something people speculated heavily on, and well, no. Spoilers, but it's not that big of a spoiler.
Don't worry about me.
Camino uprising, I think we all saw is not happening. We just kind of saw that as probably not happening. So a new poll now. Let me know, guys. Is Bad Batch slated to overtake Clone Wars in terms of, like, the potential quality? Like, do you think it could be better than Clone Wars? So I know we only had one season so far, so that's why there is it's too early to say part. 1, 2, or 3. Yes, it's better. 2, it's too early to say, or 3, I prefer Clone Wars. Vote in the poll. Type 1, 2, or 3. Drew, what'd you think?
Yeah, so my wife and I on season 7, right, Clone Wars, we loved it. We thought it was great. Bad Batch was interesting because we had heard and we've seen in other video games like these elite clone troopers before, but we hadn't really ever gotten to, like, see them, right? Like, what is it called? What was that video game? It was like a Clone Wars Commando or Star
Republic
Wars
Commando.
Republic Commando, yeah.
You got to see Commandos.
Yeah, which they even did a cameo with one of them in one of the episodes, which is pretty cool. But either way, so yeah, my wife and I were not really interested in the show, but after the first episode, we were like, oh, okay, right? And I love how, Matt, you touched down upon it. There's like this super elite squad of guys that, like, you don't really care about, and then suddenly there's a show about them, and you're like, okay, they're actually people, right? Which is really interesting. They've got feelings. And then very quickly for my wife and I, it became the Dad Batch, which we absolutely loved, and we thought that was super funny. And so,
but it didn't become as much of the Dad Batch as I worried it could have been.
Yeah, we were a little worried it would be a little too much, and I think they got it maybe just right. Maybe some of the episodes are a little too sort of like fatherly in that way, I guess. But it, like Matt said too, it's a kid show, right? Like, right. They gotta do something with it. So I'm excited to see more. The biggest thing that so Matt, real quick, how far did you get? How many episodes did you see before you stopped?
I think I'm like 5 episodes in, and then
you have like 8 left.
Okay.
So yeah, I know. Like and again, don't worry about me.
Right.
I'm a big boy. I can handle spoilers, and
we're not going to talk too long about Bad Batch.
Just myself to sleep tonight. That's all. That's all.
Have you seen Cad Bane? Has Cad Bane shown up back for you?
No, he is not. I'm glad that you just said that, because I'm glad that he will be there.
Yeah. So that was the big thing too. I know that one of the episodes that was not shown, it was actually canceled before being played. There was a whole thing with Boba Fett, like young Boba Fett and Cad Bane, and I guess that doesn't happen. So I don't know if you have heard about that or not. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but that's not happening, which is really interesting to me, because I was like, oh, I want to see more of the transition and more about the Bounty Hunter Guild, and hopefully we get to see even maybe like a young, how do you say his name from Mandalorian? Din Jin.
Yeah.
Djarin,
Din Djarin,
Yeah,
yeah.
I want to see more of him. Maybe as like a teenager or something, right? Like, let's see a little bit of him in that mercenary group. You know, screw the Dad Batch over once or twice, right? So.
Yeah,
I love it.
I think it has a lot of potential, and I actually really kind of fell in love with what they did with Crosshair, and I like that so one of the reasons why I loved Rogue One so much was that it was dark and it had a lot of dark themes. It actually disappointed a lot of people by killing, like the way they killed off so many characters in succession was brutal for some people. Like it was hard to watch. Like I like those characters. Sure, they could have fleshed them out more, whatever, I don't care. It was hard to watch. They did a good job with not giving people the predictable outcome on things and showing sacrifice, showing brutality. There's the scene early on when Crosshair just like slaughters, like has his guys just slaughter a bunch of civilians.
Yep.
Like, look, I get it. Kids should be able to watch this, but at the same time, you can have kids should know that there are going to be dark themes in storytelling and in real life. And they didn't do it in a way that was gross or bloody or anything like that. But that's what got me more invested in, is that they kind of showed that they were for real about making this show something for most Star Wars fans. It just like they did with Mandalorian. A kid could watch Mandalorian, but it's not meant for kids. And actually with this show, I don't feel like it's truly just meant for kids.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So, yeah. Be sure to vote in that poll. You guys have a couple more minutes to do that. I don't know if you guys have anything else to say about Bad Batch. If you want to give it a rating, I'd give it the first season an 8.5 out of 10. So far, Matt, with what you've watched so far, what are you thinking? It's a little slow, I think, with the first 5 episodes.
Yeah, I was gonna say it really, like, it's just really starting to build. So I'm just gonna say 6 out of 10. But again, I haven't watched all of it, so.
Fair enough. Oh, favorite characters. Let us know who your favorite characters are. I like Crosshair the most, I think, and Hunter's a close second. Drew, rate it.
I gotta be honest with you. I taught kids for 7 years, and so I really like Omega's take on the world around her. I find that super interesting. I mean, we haven't really had a kid. I mean, we've seen like in season 7 there were those like 4 episodes with those 2 kids that they even come back and sorry, I didn't mean to ruin it for you, Matt. Don't.
Oh no, there's kids.
You don't have to watch those episodes, but like seeing kids growing up in the Star Wars universe is very interesting to me, because I grew up wishing I could do that, right? Like, and I'm sure some other people have as well, but it's really cool to me to see kids get their hot takes or new takes on the world. And so I like Omega as a character a lot, because she's always like gung-ho for it, right? But of course, the main character powers, you're like, well, nothing's really gonna happen, so the kid can do whatever they want, right? Like, it's okay. So yeah, Cad Bane is also a second one, a close second. I like him a lot they've really tried to. We didn't really get a whole lot of him, Matt, but they really went for that sort of like Clint Eastwood, like super high. Like the first line he says when you meet him is, I won't spoil it for you. You have to watch it. All right. You'll love it. Yeah.
You'll have to watch it.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
Just one other thing that I will say that I like is that they're really tying things together. Like, you got to see first episode, I believe, you got to see Kanan.
Yeah. I had no idea. I was like, it's some kid.
Yeah, it was just some kid. Yeah, no, but so you got to see, and they do that with, they did that with Rebels by linking in Rex and Wolf and that kind of stuff, and it really tied things together and made it feel like it's an actual universe. So I like it. I look forward to the Cad Bane.
Yes. Yeah. No, that
excellent.
It's great. You'll love it. Yeah, Fennec was great. Sid is really funny too. He's a good comic relief. Drew, are you ready to talk about dinosaurs? Something that has absolutely nothing to do with anything we've ever talked about so far?
No, I was gonna say, do you want to do like postal stuff instead? Like, I'm just gonna gush.
No, I spent all this time on this. You can't do this to me. I spent way too much time setting this stuff up. Absolutely not. All right, so let me move over to Drew likes dinosaurs. All right, what dinosaur we got?
So the one that we're talking about today is the Notosaurus, For those who don't know what a Notosaurus is, it is very similar to an Ankylosaurus, which is sort of like that armored cow dinosaur with a huge, I don't want to call them like balls at the end of the tail.
Yeah,
right?
like
It's
a
got,
mallet tail.
like
Yeah.
a
It's kind of like a mace,
absolutely. Yeah. So the reason why it is this subspecies of Ankylosaur specifically is because in 2016, a miner was using his machine to dig a mine in Canada, and came across a fossil. But the thing that makes this fossil interesting was that not only was it fossilized, but it's basically mummified. The sediment, wherever it died, this creature died in, it perfectly preserved its body, to the point where we have skin tone, we have definition in the muscles, and it so I guess it died in a sort of like a swampy, watery area, and it laid on its back, and its shoulder blades and part of its ribs are actually imprinted on the spikes or the plates of its back, so you can actually see it. So I copied and pasted the National Geographic article about this, and I meant to put it in the chat, and I can't
I think
put
you
it
sent
in
it
the
to
chat,
me.
which I'm really upset about. Yeah. But I also, and yes, Drewston, so I have been to Chicago before. Nick, you skipped me on talking about the deep dish pizza, but I love it
Oh,
too.
I'm sorry, man.
And
I
when
didn't mean
went
to. It's a lot
Oh,
of
you're
things
fine, you're
going
fine.
on in my head.
And when I went to Chicago, the first thing I went to was the National History Museum on the coast there, to see Sue, which is the most complete Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton of all time, or at least it was up until a few years ago. But anyways, yeah. So this Notosaur, we know the pigment of its skin, we know the color of its skin, which is so crazy because we haven't really ever seen anything like that in a dinosaur fossil before. It's even to the point where you can see the tendons of its tail fossilized into its bone. It looks like jerky, which is really cool. And so this gives us so much interesting information about the way they walked, the way they looked. And then we haven't really seen anything like that before. So that was me. And I also, so Matt, I play a tabletop game called Age of Sigmar. You may or may not have heard of Warhammer and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I play Seraphon, which are formerly the Lizard Men. And I painted my Bastillodon, which is essentially an Ankylosaurus, for that faction with the supposed skin tone of the creature. They had an official artist make a rendition of what it might have looked like color-wise. And so I painted a Bastillodon.
Very nice.
Nice.
So
yeah,
I'm gonna geek out a little bit with you on this. That is really cool because I know that people have talked about, it's like we just kind of assume that what dinosaurs look like, but we don't know where their fat pockets are and stuff like that. So we don't know. It's like, did the Tyrannosaurus's skin actually come really close, or is it more like a penguin where like you don't see the neck? It's all just fat right there. So it's like, did it have a really thick neck? Who knows? We don't know. I mean, we're like, we're more progressively getting to the point where we're like, a lot of dinosaurs had feathers. It's like, oh, maybe the raptor had feathers. Maybe this had feathers, and like more and more it's coming out. It's like, this has feathers, which is interesting because like a lot of like medieval drawings of like mythical creatures are like, oh, this is a lizard, but it's got wings. And it's got, but it has like this beaked face and stuff like that. It's like, this kind of sounds like somebody's describing what we are now understanding are dinosaurs. So it's like, did somebody come across a fossil or something at some point and was like, here's this mythical creature. I drew what I think it looks like, and now we're actually coming to understand, 700 years later. Or something like, around about that, oh, this is actually what they did look like. And maybe this was somebody that happened upon a mummification like the Ankylosaur.
Yep. Absolutely. And that's the other cool thing, too, is that Michael Crichton, who wrote Jurassic Park, after he passed away, they they didn't like raid his apartment or whatever, but they found a bunch of books that he hadn't published. And one of those books they did publish, and it's called Dragon Teeth, which is about someone in the, I think it's the mid to late 1800s, who comes across dinosaur bones. And they're like, oh, it's dragon teeth, and it becomes this like high-speed chase, and like, you know, people are trying to steal them because they're like, oh, these are priceless artifacts, right? So very cool stuff. But yeah, it's so cool to think about, right? What they might have looked like.
I'm just taking this all in. I like, you guys are. I not that I say I'm not interested in, like, I don't think about dinosaurs a lot. They're so fascinating to me, and the fact that you guys both are super into it. I'm just kind of taking this in, so I don't have too much to contribute. But I'm glad that we have this as a section. We can flip flop between dinosaurs and Drew's postal stories, but I think we should keep the dinosaurs around as much as we can, because there's so many cool dinosaurs to talk about, and there's always new discoveries being made, just like you guys are talking about. Weston also mentioned the mummified Notosaurus that they found recently. All right, guys, so we have some memes to go over for fun before the giveaways, and then we'll wrap up the show. For those of you guys that have stood with us this far, great job. Sorry for the minor technical. I just noticed that the wipes for some reason are a little laggy. I think it's just because of the file size for some of these things. I can easily fix that. It's just converting the file. So let's go back to our topics and finish off with our final topic. The meme. It's really memes of the day, because you can't just pick one meme. That's too boring. So without further ado, it's time for the meme of the day. So I got a few good ones for you guys. We're gonna start with Star Wars, of course. So when you find the Chinese bootleg subtitled version of Episode 3 and realize it is an untapped meme goldmine, I will chose the girl. My wife and I wanted baby, but do not want to be intimate. Visible confusion at him not choosing boy. So good. They really do not get old. The next one. God, so there's just one rule, and then it's married as hardcore biting into the apple, which I can hear and visualize that scene because I've seen Lord of the Rings so many times. We will have a Lord of the Rings section because Drew and I love Lord of the Rings.
No, it's worth it.
Lord of the Rings is pretty cool, if you ask me, as I'm wearing the ring. That's a good one. Next one. This is a Curb Your Enthusiasm meme. The fucker looks badass, don't he? I was your Uber driver like 3 months ago.
Please leave me alone.
It's a pity Bilbo didn't kill him when he had the chance. Do not be too eager to deal out death and judgment. Even the very wise cannot see all ends. Otherwise, it would have killed Pippin. It's true. Gandalf, I'm surprised Gandalf didn't murder Pippin.
He just pushed him down the well.
He probably would have. He didn't die. Spoiler alert. 2 9-year-old men fight, and one of them can't remember who the other is. Explain a movie plot badly. True. That's a good one. I really like that. Like, that was a big wave of memes that explain a movie plot badly.
Yeah.
Yep. The last one, when you're new to the game and see a fight outside of your skill level. So
have you guys seen Shang-Chi at all?
Yes.
Yeah. In the bus where the guy's like, yeah, I took some kung fu when I was a kid. Like, we're just gonna steal this place out. Like,
I think that link works. Benji.
Oh, it should.
Oh, and dinosaurs. Sweet.
Yeah.
We'll use that as a resource. Thank you,
So,
Tommy.
I did actually have a hot take. That was my second hot take that I didn't get to back in the beginning. Was Shang-Chi is a 9 out of 10, not a 10 out of 10.
Oh!
I keep people say it's 10 out of 10. It is not a perfect movie. It is a really good movie, but not a perfect movie. Don't say 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go back. Go.
I was gonna say. I mean, I wouldn't even. I'm being nice by saying 9 out of 10. I personally wouldn't go that far, but it was a very good movie. But a 10 out of 10, I would be grabbing people and telling them, "You need to see this movie." That was for me. That was The Dark Knight, where I grabbed somebody and was just like, "You need to see this movie. Go now."
Yep. Yeah, we're Nike's the whole movie. I don't. Yeah, Shang-Chi. Hey, come on, man. That's not. Can't fight. Yeah, demons and shit in your shoes. You need like. where's the Stark tech, right? Like, come on.
Oh man. Without further ado, guys, it is time for giveaways.
Oh.
And here we go.
I hope I win. I hope I win.
Nick gonna
Ooh,
give us some free shit.
So if I do it again, it'll play back perfectly though. Just like this.
Type Greg in the chat for $1 million.
You know what time it is? It's that giveaway time. Nick gonna give us some free shit.
Free shit. All right. It's probably so the reason why some stuff is lagging is just because I have a Zoom and Discord open to get both of these guys video. I know there's probably a much easier way to do it, but because I was setting up so many other things, that was one of the last things that we did. So hence some of the things being laggy and everything else being perfect. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with how things have looked tonight, but there have been some issues. All right, you guys, so I did promise the Resistance Y-Wing. So first, let me take you guys to the formal giveaway screen, and you guys will see the Resistance Y-Wings. Resistance Y-Wings. So you have a chance to win one of those packs. I will communicate with you directly if you win it about how we can get it to you, because it would take too long and be probably too costly for me to pre-order it, have it show up after a long time here, and then have to ship it to you. That's a long time to wait. We'll figure that out. So what we're gonna do is we're going to open up Nightbot here. I have it already open, and I need you to type the keyword Y-Wing. So just
Is there a
dash
dash?
wing?
Yeah,
Nope.
just
is there a dash?
yeah, that's a good question. No, it's just type Y-Wing as I'm gonna type it right now. Just do that thing. There you go. That's Colfax has got it. That should, I think Nightbot like takes almost like any close abbreviation of it, but type Y-Wing, no dash, no spaces. I'll give you guys a moment for that. We have a couple more things to give away. Y-Wing.
Gotta get philosophical. Why wing?
Why wait, right? Who is wing? Why is wing?
Why does wing? Why does one wing?
Have you seen what is it? Someone posted a photo next to the old 1.0 Y-Wing, and they're like, I like the 1.0 Y-Wing better than the new one. And I was like, what the? How do you?
How do you live?
You know what time it is? It's that giveaway time. Nick gonna give us some free shit.
All right, I'm gonna count down from 10. Type Y-Wing. Type Y-Wing in the chat if you haven't already. No dashes, no spaces. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the winner of the Resistance Y-Wings is Mystic83, who went to bed a moment ago and who was complaining that he never wins anything on the stream, which was true. He's never won anything until tonight. So Josh, congratulations, you win something pretty great. We're not done yet. I have some stickers over here, and I think since you guys have been so gracious tonight, I have one more goodie from courtesy of Mr. Andrew Knuckles. So let's do the stickers. I got 5 stickers here, 312 stickers. I'm just gonna rattle off here the names: !win. Send me an email with your address, just like Dion does it. !win. It's just the easiest thing to do. So let's do. The winners of the stickers are Mega Silver, Cold Hard Facts, which I've given you a couple of. I'll give you something else just because I'll mail it. You have more prizes I need to send you. I'll give you something fancy. Nickel City X-Wing, Brody Rules, Dr. Weston, Shazbot GG, one more, Ladrion. All right, those are the stickers. And lastly, for our subby subs. So, you guys have seen these before. The number 2 Chicago Target Locks, right? Second City, number 2.
Yeah.
We now have a complete set of 1, 2, and 3 Chicago Target Locks. So you can field with a 3 ship list, you can field a list next wing using those locks. Super excited about that. So I'm gonna give away 3 sets of those tonight. I'm gonna refresh Nightbot really quick. For those of you guys that want to win that, we'll do a keyword as well. For that giveaway, the keyword is going to be lock. Just type lock. So do that when you get the chance. Lock. Yeah, super excited about these. These will be great giveaways. Clock. Yeah. All right, here we go. I'm gonna roll it. 3 winners. The 3 winners are, the first one is my girlfriend. So Yoda Taco is the first winner. Drew, you count. You won them. All right.
What? No.
One arm Billy. I'll do one
Re-roll
more.
it,
One arm
re-roll it.
Billy. So far, Yoda Taco, One Arm Billy are winners. Exclamation point and win. Send me an email, guys. And then Nabi AU. Nabi, Mr. A Wing. Good morning, I think, or afternoon.
Flock.
Good other time of the day. Good 16 hours away from us.
Exclamation point win.
Hey.
Well, guys, this was, I think, overall a pretty big success. We had a couple of minor hiccups, but it went smoothly overall. I'd rate it around what I'd rate Bad Batch, you know. So I hope you guys had fun. If you guys have any ideas for our show, topics, rapid fire stuff, or questions for Matt, you can go to our Discord or Matt's, the Midwest Scrub. Is it Midwest Scrubcast or is it Midwest Scrub on your Discord? I need to... Off the top of my head, I'm totally choking right now.
Are you talking about my
your Discord too, because you should check out your guys' Discord too. I know you don't have your own Matt Cary Discord, but Midwest Scrubcast is the Scrubs Discord.
I honestly don't know the name. I've only just linked the link.
Yeah, I got it. Let me drop a link to Matt. Matt is a contributor for their blog and their podcast, and they also have a pretty sweet Patreon deal. I'm a patron. Pretty awesome templates that they've been sending out.
Templates like every 2.5 months, something like that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna copy a link real quick.
I was gonna say though, Matt, that's a good excuse because you're like, I don't want any more scrubs on my Discord, right? Like, I don't know how to.
No, actually, that's where we collect all the scrubs. So if you are not good at X-Wing, come join us.
Absolutely.
I think
I have to join now. Let's do it.
At the top, I should be able to find the link to copy, but for some reason it's not letting me invite the normal way. And I've been using Discord for a while.
I'm right there with you, Matt.
See.
Or, sorry, Nick.
Yeah, Matt's got this. For some reason, I can't do the invite the way I usually do the invite. So Matt will drop a link. I hope you all enjoyed tonight, guys. Congratulations to Josh. I'll reach out to Josh because he's good. He's like, I'll watch the VOD, the rest on the VOD tomorrow. We're gonna be uploading these the day after, so tomorrow we'll upload this to YouTube. So follow our YouTube channel, subscribe there. And this is going to be bi-weekly. So next Tuesday there will be no 312 cast, but or 312 show rather. Let's call it the right name, Nick. You just came up with it. And,
There you go. There's the link to the Discord.
Thank you. Check out the Midwest Scrubs. You guys haven't streamed much recently, but are you still planning on streaming?
Yeah, we were doing something called the Monster Hunters, which we took what was the big bad in the meta and played against it. But like right now, the meta is like 9 months old, so like
there are changes coming. Winter.
And so we'll see what the new monster that pops up, and then we'll play against it. So
yeah,
absolutely.
Well, anything else, guys? Just before we sign off, anything to say or plug, or any more hot takes?
I think you plugged my stuff enough, so that's cool. I appreciate that.
Phrasing.
Hey-o.
Hey-o.
I got nothing, man. You are my thing, Nick. We plug you because we're on here, so there we go.
We are all one cohesive Bad Batch, of course. Scrubby Batch. Rename this stream to Scrub Batch. Maybe we could do
the Scrub Batch.
The Scrub Batch.
Hilarious.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back on Friday with our Star Wars gaming night, and then Saturday nights we do X-Wing. Be sure to check us out on YouTube, like our Facebook page, and join our Discord if you're not already part of it, and get in on the action. And who knows, maybe you can be here at Matt's place and come up with some even spicier hot takes. Anything's possible. All right, everyone, have a good night. Adios.
Thanks for having me, Nick.
Thank you. Bye, guys.